SEMA, we are live in the IGL Coatings booth with the legendary Joel Pom and, of course,
Mike
the
Karlen.
man that owns everything, Mike Karlen. So, yes, we are super excited. I guess you guys got some kind of
an
award.
award or something.
Yeah, so Aegis was nominated for, or won
What?
the Global Media Award for SEMA 2023. So
That's
pretty cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
Super
Out
cool.
of 300 products, and there was like 15 judges, and we won the award.
Yeah.
So it's
That is awesome.
I've been telling people on our podcast for a long time how cool Aegis is. Now people are missing out on it. So let's describe what it actually is, because it is not. This is not like a clear coat.
It's not a coating. It's a
this
paint
is not a
system.
coating. This is a paint system. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people refer to it as a ceramic coating, and we're always like, no, that would be our Eclipse. Aegis is a graphene reinforced anti-corrosion 2K clear coat, but we have to remember it's rated for a C5 atmosphere, which is the highest corrosion rating that you can have. So,
Right.
what it really is doing is helping protect from corrosion and rust. It is a clear, but the privilege we have is we can tint it just like what we did now.
Yeah. And
And it is also very flexible. So it's hard and flexible at the same time. You can just kind of see, this is the clear version versus the colored version here.
That's nice.
So-
we just add a little bit of paint toner or mica powder, and we can make it into that.
what about prep work? What do I got to do to prep? If I was going to
Prep?
do this square,
Prep is pretty simple. We have to evaluate the surface, and if there's any type of scaling, at that point we're going to descale it. But when you get into this, where it's not necessarily scaling, it's just the start of something, we can choose, it depends. You can choose like, hey, I want to get rid of it. But technically at that point, if we want to, we can spray over it because we're encapsulating it. And at that point, we're stopping anything from going in.
That's
further.
super
stopping
cool.
it from further,
So it's a
which,
rust inhibitor at the same time.
So
which
I-
I think is incredible opportunities for
Yeah.
people.
Well, and I had an idea. So, you know my son, what you got?
Joel's
All right,
actually showing how
got something to
flexible
show
this
us.
is.
It
Whoa.
does not crack.
Wow.
Won't crack
All
at
right,
all.
so that actually leads into my question. So, as you guys know, my son lives in Marina Del Rey, right? So I spend a lot of time, as often as I can, going down to the beach.
Yeah.
One of the significant problems is every single bicycle has rust on
Like
the
crack,
on the
like-
chain, right?
Right.
So I was like, is there any way that I could apply that to my chain
Yes.
and then oil it up and boy, it'd be a nice little product for the beach station.
Sounds like
Oh, there's. I think that.
I'm thinking we got to test, and I will help market the snot out of that
Yeah.
stuff because I got the
I
location.
think there's unlimited possibilities.
This is an air conditioning unit in Miami. You can see the ocean there in the backdrop. This is not even 6 months old. And look at the
Holy
corrosion
Hannah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
awesome.
everywhere.
Here, hold on, let's look at that.
Yeah,
So let's
bring it
take
up
that
here.
right up here.
Right to the
So
camera.
right up to the
You
camera.
can see the corrosion everywhere.
So
Yeah.
see
The brown
corrosion.
stuff is yucky.
And
It's rust.
this is where Aegis plays.
So this developer that owns this building, they have 81 buildings in Miami that they own. And they want all the units, all the condensing units, everything done on all the buildings. So the detailer that's working on that, I don't know who it is, but the detailer that's working on that, he's going to be a busy boy for a little while, I think.
Yeah, and this is a totally different process. This you need to have a training with this because it's a spray application. This is not like use an applicator, wipe it off. It's not a coating. Again, it is a spray. So if you've sprayed paint before, if you've done any work on painting or touch up even with some kind of a spray gun, so you understand that concept of adjusting the 3 areas of the paint gun, getting the right amount of atomization and all of that, you should be able to do this. But you're painting. This is a different world. But it is as soon as I saw you guys have this product, I started telling people on our podcast, like, you are missing out because they're like the description I gave a guy yesterday was talking to us about. I said, look, every single utility or heavy equipment trailer comes out of the factory, they pop it into the powder coating booth, and within 6 months, every seam is cracked and rusting.
Yes.
Kansas City Railway,
Yeah.
they manufacture locomotives there. We have, what's the guy's name that does it? Justin Richardson, good IGL guy. And he started, and what he did and how he started this is after you finish the course, when you go to the training, we ship you a free kit for you to play with and try.
That's awesome.
He went over to the rail where they make the locomotives, and he says, "I'm going to do it for free.
Yeah.
Take my kit that I got. I'm going to do it for free. I want to show you guys maybe the difference." So he did it, and they were ecstatic. And then all of a sudden, they gave him 2 locomotives to do, and then next month 4 locomotives to do.
That's awesome.
And as they're coming off the line, they're doing them now.
That's
because
great.
if you can get in there the preventative stuff, I don't think people realize the millions of dollars that people spend on industrial things, and part of it is just because it rusts out.
Yeah.
Well, it's the stat is $4.2 trillion every year is spent to
There you go.
corrosion.
Yeah, to combat corrosion, and it is a serious problem all over the place. And like Jody said, in a beach scene where you've got, that's a small thing, is a bike
It's a
chain.
small
You're
thing.
talking about ginormous pieces of equipment, air conditioning units, dump trucks, concrete. Mike was talking to us yesterday about concrete trucks and covering those in the back, so they just have to rinse them off. So what is the life of this? Is it the same as a paint?
So the salt spray test of this was 6,000 hours.
Okay.
Which, when you go into the lab result or the lab atmosphere, they say that's 60 years. Now we don't ever say that. We have to look at how it's being used.
Right.
Sometimes we have to look at the
Environment.
ROI for the customer, because what if they're only getting 1 year right now and we can get them 3
3
years, 4
years,
years,
yeah.
5 years,
Yep.
Yeah.
and you're going to do that. So it
Yeah.
depends on how it's being used, what they're using it for, and every
And the
application.
replacement cost of equipment. So you may not have to spend $30 million this year. You may be able to keep that money within the company for another 4 years, because now you got. So it's not a matter of how long; it's how much can I save you before you actually have to release that money.
And if people are turning equipment, and like you said, they're spending 20, 30 million, 10 million, it doesn't matter, and you say, look, I can give you an extra year, you could charge $1 million to save them 10, and you are it's
We're
a
the
whole
hero.
business.
We're the
Yeah,
hero.
exactly.
So that's why I think that people need to look at this. They need to realize there's this is not an add-on. This is a separate business.
There's an individual in Michigan that I've been working with, and he does a lot of the fire trucks.
Yeah.
And in Michigan, they only get about, on these ladder trucks that are 600,000 plus, they can only get anywhere from 3-4 years, because the frame has to go through inspection every year. And then if it doesn't pass, that's gone.
Yeah.
And that says a lot. If we can get hey, let's see if we can get 8 years out of that.
Yeah, cities and municipalities and I mean, it's literally limitless. If it's a piece of metal or something that corrodes, this is going to.
Well, not just that, like wood corrodes, concrete corrodes. Okay, we had Hilton Hotels approach us because they do pools, and around the pools they do really nice permacon stone work.
Yeah.
And because you're close to the ocean, that corrodes. So they asked us, hey, can we coat with the Aegis, Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you have the ASTM number for anti-slip? Let us get it. So then we go, we get it, we come, yes, here it is.
That's awesome.
Then the engineers stamp it, right? The other thing, too, is what people don't realize, that it's also anti-graffiti.
Yeah.
So we've
I
had
was actually talking.
New York City. So when they do construction sites, they'll put big wood and they'll do
Yes.
artwork, and people go by and they tag that,
Yeah.
and it's a pain in the ass. So what they did is they were putting plexiglass in front of stuff like that, and then people were damaging that, so it looked like hell.
Yeah.
So now we've had a few people that have tested and put Aegis over it. People come by and tag. That's fine. The city comes by, pressure washes. The next morning, it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
so this has been an interesting year at SEMA, because there's been a ton of people that have a ton of new products or new ideas.
Yeah.
But just if you think back to, I don't know, a year ago, and everybody's like, well, what kind of innovations can we see? We're not going to see that many innovations. I mean, we've kind of the
Yeah.
level. No, this is
No.
completely off the charts. Another level of
Yeah.
protection. And again, think about it in a business standpoint. You go from a detailing company to this is a anti-corrosion. You're protecting anything. Equipment trailers. You could spend a lifetime just protecting equipment trailers. Horse trailers are another great one. If you're in a community that has a lot of horses or cattle or stock trailers, they rust out constantly because there's a lot of acidity and urine and fertilizers. I mean, my gosh.
And the nice thing about it too is it's also made to be, you can put it direct to metal.
Yeah.
So now we can eliminate that prep of that part.
Yeah.
The primer, the paint. here, whatever it may be, and we go direct to metal because that's what it was intended
That's
for
awesome.
to begin with.
Yeah, and I've done this with my own stuff. Like, I'll buy a car trailer and they're really super expensive, and I literally will spend hours underneath of it. As soon as I get it, putting stuff on it to help the corrosion and help the wood so it doesn't rot out, protect the deck. And I'm looking at this going, use my spray gun and it's done. This is crazy.
That's an interesting thing
this.
that you said. I got a question for you. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah.
That's all Aegis?
Mike
Wow.
did this. It's all metal. It was
That's
just metal,
awesome.
and he painted it with the flake and everything. Mike did that.
Yeah.
Is it, so we've talked about concrete, we've talked about metal.
Wood, metal.
Can you do wood?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the reason why I thought about that is because so many boat trailers, they all have
absolutely.
the padded wood covered thing. Dude.
So you're a big water guy, and
Yeah.
I know that. So when you get to a dock and you go fishing with a bunch of buddies, and you get to a dock, sometimes they'll have like a metal table with the big thing. It's all metal to cut the fish and get them clean out on the dock instead of at home. So that company's Killer Dogs. That's one of Mike's clients, and they're out of Alabama, the company that makes those, and they've been using Aegis now, and they're coating 20, 30 of them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because they're sitting there on the dock right at the ocean, right? And that was a problem.
Yeah.
So now, not a problem. We're shipping almost every week to them. Mike's got them on board.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You guys are killing it, man.
Yeah, well, you know what? We're having fun.
Yeah, and that's what
because it's different.
Yeah.
You're talking to a different mindset of people.
Yeah.
You're just talking, and I think that's good too, because even in the detailing world, not everybody lives in Florida. Not everybody lives in Arizona.
Right.
If you're in New York City, right now there's snow on the ground. So guess what? Detailing slows down.
So way down.
So when we talk about pivoting, changing directions, guys, get a hold of us. This is the direction you need to be going.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's the thing is that, like you said, I think that's a perfect example. There's so many people live in an environment, and Mike, where farming, heavy industrial, heavy boats. Some of these people up in Maine and all these areas where, in Idaho, where we get tons of snow,
Colorado,
and they salt the roads and they do all this stuff. I'm just looking at it going, this is something everybody needs to come in and look at.
Yeah.
If you're not comfortable spraying, you can learn. I mean, we literally taught some people
That's
how to
why
spray.
you got a
great
training
instructor.
crew.
Go through the
training.
These guys are
facility.
in booth 50185. They're literally right underneath the 5100 sign in the West Hall. If you haven't met Joel, then you really haven't been around. He's one of the OGs in the industry. So come on down and check this out. I'm telling you right now, Jody and I are both going to go through the training. I'm excited about this. I spray a lot of stuff. I've got a lot of trailers and all kinds of stuff.
I'm telling you, yes.
I mean, I've got a motorhome that's less than 16,000 miles, and the frame's already starting to corrode. I'm like, we're done.
So that means we already got something to do at the training.
We already have something.
We already have something to do at the
We have
training.
equipment to provide.
We already have something.
there.
So we don't
We
have to
will
go
bring
bring
it in.
I could bring you 3 trailers and a motorhome.
Not a problem.
Not a problem.
So
Go
we'll
to my
tell Steve
backyard.
Thompson. I think we're going to be doing one actually at Steve Thompson's in Idaho.
Yeah.
So we'll be able to tell him that we got the pieces of equipment.
Yeah,
Just show up.
don't even worry about that. I
Don't
got
even
that. I
worry.
got
We'll
you
just
covered.
bring 'em.
I got a huge
That's good.
opportunity. I got a huge opportunity that I want to talk to
Motorhomes,
Mike
trailers,
about.
bobcats,
and,
we'll bring it all.
I'm sure we got it.
Thanks,
So,
everybody. Hope you're enjoying SEMA.
yeah,
Yep.
thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate
Talk to you later.
See ya.